Hello everyone, welcome back to another G1 Transformers review. As you can see, I'm following in the same vein as my last few reviews in doing a G1 micromaster base. This particular one is called Ironworks, and it actually refers to the actual micromaster itself. That's his name, and the actual base is a kind of building site really, type of construction yard, sort of something like that really, and then changes obviously into a battle base. I'll show you the back of the box so you can have a little read up. The box is a little bit tatty but not still too bad. Here's obviously an Autobot because of the colour scheme. You get the red boxes and the red, white and blue, and obviously your Autobot logo there. I'll bring the front in as well so you can see the artwork and the side art, and I'll bring it in so you can see the write up on it. Not a huge lot of information, and obviously his tech specs again on the latest style. The image obviously is sort of again kind of trying to do a almost like the Marvel Comics sort of style battle rather than the original type of artwork they used to have on the backs of the G1 boxes, and shows obviously one of the other bases as well, Hot House. But yeah, not too bad really. It's quite sort of nice bit of effort they went into, and obviously you get the usual photographs on top. There are discrepancies between the prototypes, which are obviously used for these photographs, and the actual toy, which I'll point out. Let's get him out. Right, so this is what you get for your money. Let's put the box in the background. You get one grey ramp. I think this is the right ramp for him. I've actually dug out some others. There is a slight difference in colour there, so it might not be quite the right one, but it is the same style. They're just pretty much a basic universal ramp with a fitting at each end to attach them. You obviously get Ironworks himself, which is a little truck, which is a recolour of one of the off-road patrol, and transforming him is exactly the same. You just flick the cab round, flick the back down, and that's him done. You've got little posable arms, and that's him finished. Not bad, you know, they picked out a bit of the face detail with some colour. I do wish they'd sort of done something to disguise the screws on some of these though. I know it's a minor issue really on a figure this size, but it would have just been nice. It was quite good though, they did have the effort to put, although it's a bit worn, a little sticker to just give him a little bit more detail than just the standard figures from the like I say, from the off-road patrol. And it looks quite good in yellow. Quite a nice little figure on himself. In construction yard sort of mode, the first thing I should do is get rid of that missile, because you wouldn't have that. You have the little crane arm round, and then of course you've got a movable little jib. And it's got, although on the box, this is where you get some of the colour differences. On the box you've got like yellow construction materials. They just did a basic moulding, all in grey. So in that sense it's different. You do get a nice sort of sticker applications on the top there. Obviously like tire marks in sort of the dirt or the sand of a building yard. But pretty much, you know, quite basic. The odd sticker detail here and there, but quite blank as such in this mode. As I say, you do get an accessory which is basically looks like a cruise missile, but obviously that's for his offensive capabilities when he's a base mode. Now to transform him, you take the jib of the crane off, and as you saw, fold up the hook, which would be for the crane. Obviously that's something to watch carefully, because obviously that's only thin plastic and quite delicate. We do see ones of those where they're snapped off. You put the cruise missile on there, which is slotted on the top, so that becomes then the missile launcher. Just leave that to one side for the minute. Then you need to fold out the whole side section, and that clips securely into place. You then turn the whole thing on its side, like so, taking off the yellow top where the crane was fitted to. Next stage would be to fold down, or maybe I should have done that, but it's not done. Fold down out this section from the base, replet that in, and that creates another sort of void and an area with sort of positions where you can stand, and it also creates the mounting for the missile launcher, which fits on there. You then fit the yellow effectively like the base of the crane, but that way up, upside down, via these two pegs into these two holes. So again, that becomes like a lookout position, something like that. And then inside this whole section there is a bit you need to flip over like so, and then you fold out the blades, and that becomes, I suppose, like a windmill, but I would say it's probably supposed to be like a radar attachment. What do they class it as? Interstellar laser communicators. So that must be almost like, if I move the camera up a little bit so you can see it all, almost like the equivalent of, say, like a satellite dish, but it still looks like a windmill to me. But yeah, not bad. I mean, you can obviously angle that up, so that would then make it look a bit more like it's maybe contacting a satellite. But all in all, it's not a bad little base. It could have done with a few more sort of sticker applications and a bit more colour, because obviously you're just talking about three basic colours. You've got a little bit of red, a bit of yellow, and mainly grey plastic. The ramps become a bit null and void in this mode. The positions you would have attached them to are up on these sections here, and it would be weird to have a ramp swinging about out the back of the place like a big flappy arm. So they become a bit surplus to requirements in this mode. Obviously, if I just transform him back to his robot mode, you can stand figures in the top or down in there, sort of controlling the missiles. But they're a basic toy, but they are more designed around the fact that it's play value with adding them together to make a bigger play set effectively. I mean, you can imagine that obviously on their own they're not that great, but say if you were doing them, say the Decepticon ones, and you fitted them all around, say Tripticon when he's turned into a base mode, or Scorponok or something like that, then it adds a whole other dimension. You're adding on more and more base sort of sections. You could even do it the Autobot way. You could do it with Metroplex, or if you've got a Fortress Maximus and that, they would add on and bulk up sort of like the cityscape of the whole sort of like play set, if you like. They're well worth picking up. I mean, you can pick these up quite cheap, and they are true G ones. I don't think they've necessarily ever done a reissue of them, a proper reissue. I think there's been a few knockoff ones I've seen sort of like on the internet, probably more from Europe, but to be honest, you know whether or not it's genuine. The boxes are right, and to be honest, when you're getting ones this age, they're usually a little bit tatty, which kind of gives you the sort of nod that they're the real thing. But all in all, I could recommend them. They're worth picking up for what you sort of got to pay out on them. They are pretty good, and if you've got the area, you can display them as like their base modes like this, and or even in their other modes, and join them together, they give a certain amount of display value as well as just play value. So there you go, that is Micromaster Ironworks and his interstellar communications and missile base, and that's it for that review. I'll see you again for another Transformers review. Please feel free to subscribe if you aren't already, and feel free to comment if there's any questions or anything you want to ask, or any particular figures or bases that you'd like to see reviewed. Please feel free to drop me a line, and if I've got them, and obviously if I've got the time and I can dig them out, I shall do a review on them. Okay, thanks for watching, and I shall see you again.